Welcome back. So you're President Uhuru Kenyatta, yeah. You have major issues with the economy, yeah. And for you to be able to win this battle, yeah, and get the country back on a good economic footing, you need the cooperation of all Kenyans. But then what is the situation at that time? You find that not only is a large chunk of the country against you and against supporting you, they will even sabotage every effort you make, yeah, to revive the economy. So definitely that is not going to work. But then on top of this, you have this huge problem in the Rift Valley. Yeah, 150 legislators led by Rift Valley MPs, yeah, want to impeach your appointment, the appointment of your CS Health. Such power and independence of the legislature, of parliament, has never been seen since you came to power. Now, put those two things together and tell me if this was a crisis or not. And if you agree it was a crisis, tell me whether it was not a major crisis threatening your very presidency or it was not. Actually, the truth of the situation is that the president was pushed into a corner. Okay? Now, we are told these negotiations had started much earlier than Friday, which I believe, yeah. Let's say about a week or two before that Friday. And indeed, it's quite likely they started before this effort to impeach the CS Cicely Kariuki had started. But I've just told you in the previous episode of this series that a president plans ahead. A president of Kenya is weeks, months ahead of everybody else. They have to be to survive in power. So we can say that they saw these events coming. Yeah, they definitely saw them coming. Maybe they were not aware of the magnitude. The magnitude must have shocked them, maybe shocked them, but they were very much aware of the direction things were going. Now, I've seen some very fascinating and misleading propaganda, yeah, in the media trying to spin this whole story differently. One such story goes that the initiative for the peace deal on Friday came from Mama Ngina Kenyatta, yeah, the president's mother, and Ida Odinga, Raila Odinga's wife. This propaganda goes even further to cheat Kenyans that, in fact, Ida Odinga was very much against the swearing in of Raila Odinga. She was not for it. Of course, the whole idea behind this propaganda is to clean up some certain people's images, yeah, especially because now questions are going to be asked later. Who allowed the government to go this far? Yeah, who turned the Jubilee into such a draconian government? Arrogantly ignoring court rulings, yeah, and, killing children, killing people during demonstrations, withdrawing people's passports, deporting citizens, etc., etc. People are going to start asking those questions, okay? And it seems that already the cleanup exercise, yeah, via propaganda, to clean up people's images so that the blame will be shifted, yeah, to one sacrificial lamb, yeah, and most probably somebody who was not even very deeply involved in the decision making. And there's even more propaganda, yeah. We are told that Raila Odinga told the other principals that NASA was finished, that he had no choice but to do a deal with Uhuru. In fact, the insinuation of this propaganda is that it's Raila Odinga who approached Uhuru, yeah, and begged him for an agreement. Well, if you've been listening to this series carefully, you will know different, and you will know the truth of the matter. So no propaganda can sway you or confuse you. Now, a little later, we shall delve deeper into the problems in NASA, because they are not what people think, okay? But for now, let's tie up this Uhuru thing. The vast majority of Kenyans, and indeed very many people on this channel, are very suspicious of the handshake between Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, let's quickly go back to 2008, okay? There was a handshake which came in 2008 after the troubles of 2007. That handshake ended the troubles of 2007 and delivered a new constitution and delivered a very new Kenya. Indeed, it delivered the space which made it much easier for us to fight against the massive fraud against the Kenyan people on August 8th. Yeah. Without that earlier handshake and without the new constitution, it would have been very, very difficult to fight the fraud that went down on August 8th against the people of Kenya. Yes, it's true that not everything was implemented. Yes, it's true that we lost a very good golden opportunity to change Kenya completely, for the better. We just stopped short of doing a few very critical things that would have even ensured that August 8th would never have happened. The fraud on that date would never have happened. And of course, this was deliberate. However, the bottom line is that we made huge progress. So there's another handshake in 2018, shortly after the troubles of 2017. And going by what has happened in the past, we can expect, at the very least, a huge leap, huge changes. Indeed, we have a golden opportunity to deal with the things we did not deal with in 2008. Politically, it has become as clear as day, that those omissions of 2008 need to be addressed and corrected if we're going to avoid this problem ever happening again. And indeed, everybody is keen on both sides of the political divide. Everybody is very keen that we avoid at all costs what happened in 2017. That we avoid a political impasse that holds the country at ransom, stops all economic activity, brings so much tension, robs people of livelihoods, families and people sleeping hungry, etc., etc. There's a lot of political will to make sure that this does not happen in future. And therefore, it will be very difficult for Uhuru Kenyatta to renege. Indeed, politically, it will be impossible for President Uhuru Kenyatta to go back on his word. Because going back on his word means we'll go back to where we were. There's no sane Kenyan who wants us to go back to where we were. Definitely not. Indeed, even the president himself will not want to go back to that nightmare. Now, speaking to the people who have seen that Memorandum of Understanding, that the two excellencies signed, but their Memorandum of Understanding is a deal signed between two people. It is something which is signed because no other legal document can be signed. For instance, President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga do not have power to sign something into law. And so you have a Memorandum of Understanding that we will change things in Kenya in this and that way. Now, for that to happen, of course, laws will need to be passed. And there's a procedure for these laws to be passed. But because you've signed this Memorandum of Understanding, both of you know that you shall rally your troops, the people from your part of the political divide, to support the new laws. And therefore, they should sail through without any problem. It is like giving a beautiful lady an engagement ring. You've committed yourself. Of course, you can go back and ask for your engagement ring back. Of course, you can cancel everything. But the consequences are too dire. You would definitely not give a woman an engagement ring unless you're very sure and very serious you want to go ahead with this thing. Now, back to my point. Speaking to those people who have been able to peruse and study this Memorandum of Understanding, it covers everything. It indeed covers all the demands made by the opposition, all the demands made by NASA, electoral reforms, etc., etc. And the details which may not be covered, this MOU opens the door to cover those as well. So in other words, a very serious effort is well underway to address all our concerns. And that effort is via this Memorandum of Understanding, our commitment which both excellencies appended their signature to. Now, when you sign such agreements under the circumstances that it was signed, each side has to demonstrate some goodwill. Each side has to demonstrate that they are serious and they are committed to this new union, to this new partnership, in an effort to create a better Kenya. And already we have seen this. The government has released the passports which it had impounded from senior NASA people. The security has been restored. Yeah, the vehicles taken away from them have been returned, etc., etc. On the NASA side, the very deadly people's assemblies have been put on hold. The resist effort resisting the government has been put on hold. Yeah. In other words, NASA has declared a truce against the Jubilee government. Now again, the propaganda people are very much hard at work. Yeah, the way they are positioning this, or the picture they want to paint, is that Raila Odinga has finally accepted Uhuru Kenyatta as the president. Now the events that are going to follow shortly will just make you realize why I'm laughing, because the issue is not recognizing President Uhuru Kenyatta as the president. The issue is sorting out the mess in Kenya. And if it's a matter of recognition, the truth is in the joint communique the two also signed, yeah, after their meeting. This is a kind of summary or direction of exactly the contents of the MOU, okay? And in that document, they kept referring to Raila Odinga as His Excellency, yeah? So that document recognizes that we have two excellencies in the country, yeah, each leading their own side. We have His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, and we have His Excellency Raila Odinga. Yeah, that is no longer propaganda. That is down in writing for anybody to see who can read English. Now, in the next episode, let's dive into NASA and see what's going on there. Okay? You know what to do. Link on your top left-hand corner. See you there in a bit. This is Chris Kumekucha.